If Iran were to collapse as a unified state, the geopolitical ramifications would be immense, not just for the Middle East, but for the entire world. This scenario is rooted in real-world pressures currently facing the country. Decades of economic mismanagement, international sanctions, political authoritarianism, regional rivalries, and ongoing internal dissent have eroded Iran's internal cohesion. Add to that its immense ethnic diversity, and you begin to understand why some analysts fear that Iran could fragment into multiple independent or semi-independent regions in the event of a state failure. But how many states could realistically emerge from a post-Iran scenario? To answer this, we need to explore Iran's ethnic, geographic, and political composition. Iran is a nation of over 88 million people, but it's not a monolithic country. While the Persian ethnic group is dominant, accounting for roughly 60 to 65% of the population, the remaining 35–40% includes a mosaic of non-Persian ethnic groups, many of whom have long-standing grievances against the central government in Tehran. These groups include the Azeris, Kurds, Arabs, Baluchis, Turkmen, and others, each with their own languages, cultures, and in some cases, aspirations for autonomy or independence. These tensions are often suppressed under the tight grip of the central government, but in the absence of that authority, they could resurface rapidly. One of the most likely new states to emerge would be an Azerbaijani state in northwestern Iran. Iranian Azerbaijanis, who number between 15 to 20 million, mostly live in East Azerbaijan, West Azerbaijan, Ardabil, and Zanjan. They are ethnically and linguistically related to the people of the Republic of Azerbaijan, which borders Iran to the north. In the event of a collapse, Iranian Azeris could either form their own independent state or even seek unification with Azerbaijan. However, the likelihood of unification could depend heavily on the political will in Baku and the response from neighboring powers like Russia and Turkey, who have vested interests in the Caucasus region. Moving westward, Iranian Kurdistan could be another strong candidate for independence. The Kurdish population in Iran is estimated at around 8 to 10 million and is concentrated in the provinces of Kurdistan, Kermanshah, and parts of Elam and West Azerbaijan. Iranian Kurds have a long history of seeking autonomy and have taken up arms against the central government. The idea of a Greater Kurdistan, a pan-Kurdish state incorporating Kurdish regions of Turkey, Iraq, Syria, and Iran, has been a nationalist dream for many Kurds. In a post-Iran scenario, an independent Iranian Kurdistan could emerge and might align closely with Kurdish regions in Iraq and Syria, although regional powers would likely resist such a unification due to fears of fueling their own internal separatist movements. To the southwest lies Khuzestan, an oil-rich province inhabited by a large population of ethnic Arabs, known as Ahvazis. These Arabs have long complained of economic marginalization, cultural suppression, and environmental degradation at the hands of the Iranian state. Khuzestan is home to some of Iran's most vital oil infrastructure, making it both a strategic and symbolic region. In the event of a central government collapse, Khuzestan could attempt to break away as an Arab state, possibly aligning itself with Gulf Arab nations such as Saudi Arabia or the UAE. However, this area would be hotly contested, not only because of its economic value, but also due to its mixed population and sectarian tensions. The neighborhood can be host to a possible Lur state as well. The Lurs, an ethnic group concentrated in western Iran, particularly in Lorestan, Elam, and parts of Khuzestan, have long maintained a distinct cultural and linguistic identity. In the event of a weakened central government or territorial fragmentation, local leaders and tribal networks among the Lurs may mobilize to assert greater autonomy or even independence. Drawing on historical precedents of self-governance and regional resilience, a Lur state could emerge as a buffer polity between Persian, Kurdish, and Arab spheres, potentially aligning with external actors for support. However, such a scenario would also risk triggering regional instability, as neighboring powers and rival ethnic groups might resist or compete with the formation of new sovereignties. Further southeast, we come to Sistan and Baluchistan, home to the Baluch ethnic minority. Predominantly Sunni and ethnically distinct from the Shiite Persian majority, the Baluchis have often faced religious and political persecution. With a population of around 2 million in Iran, the Baluchis might seek to create a separate Baluchistan, possibly joining forces with Baluchi populations in neighboring Pakistan and Afghanistan. However, the region is underdeveloped, resource poor, and plagued by smuggling and militant activity, which could complicate state formation and international recognition. In the northeast, there is the Turkmen minority, mostly residing in the Golestan province, near the border with Turkmenistan. While their population is smaller, estimated at under 1 million, they could also push for either autonomy or even federation with Turkmenistan. However, the likelihood of a full-fledged independent Turkmen state forming from this region is relatively low, given its size and lack of strategic resources. It's more likely that this area could become part of a buffer zone, or a semi-autonomous region within a restructured Iran or adjacent state. And then we must ask, what happens to the Persian core? Central provinces like Tehran, Isfahan, Yazd, and Shiraz, which are ethnically Persian and home to the political, economic, and cultural hubs of the country, could coalesce into a rump Persian state. This new state would likely attempt to retain as much territory as possible and act as the legal successor of Iran, especially in international forums. Its relationship with the new breakaway regions would depend on how the collapse unfolds, whether it's a civil war, a soft dissolution, or foreign intervention. Some analysts also point out the possibility of confederal arrangements instead of full fragmentation. For example, ethnic regions could form autonomous republics under a loose Iranian federation. This model might mirror post-Soviet states or Iraq's arrangement with the Kurdish regional government. However, in a full collapse scenario, involving the total disintegration of central authority, the likelihood of voluntary federalism diminishes, as power vacuums tend to fuel separatist tendencies. Another scenario involves external influence. Countries like Turkey, Saudi Arabia, the US, Russia, China, and Israel would undoubtedly seek to shape the new regional order. Turkey, for instance, may support Azerbaijani and Turkmen causes, while Saudi Arabia might fund Arab separatists in Khuzestan. The US and Israel, long adversaries of the Islamic Republic, might view fragmentation as an opportunity to weaken Iran permanently. On the other hand, Russia and China, who have strategic ties with Iran, would likely oppose disintegration and might back the rump Persian state to maintain their interests. But before assuming Iran's collapse is imminent, it's important to recognize that the Islamic Republic, for all its issues, has proven to be remarkably resilient. Despite economic sanctions, internal protests, assassinations of top officials, and pressure from rival states, it has maintained control over its territory. The country's vast intelligence network, centralized command structure, and powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps serve as internal stabilizers that prevent fragmentation, at least for now. Still, if the state were to collapse due to internal revolution, military defeat, or prolonged civil unrest, we could be looking at the birth of new entities: an Azerbaijani state, Kurdistan, Arab state, Baluchistan, Turkmen state, and a rump Persian Iran, with other provinces caught in between. Some of these new states might be internationally recognized. Others may remain in limbo, akin to places like Transnistria or Somaliland. In conclusion, the fall of Iran would mark one of the most significant geopolitical transformations of the 21st century. The exact number of states that would emerge is hard to predict and would depend on the manner and speed of the collapse, the reactions of regional and global powers, and the will of the people in these ethnically distinct regions. While such a scenario is not guaranteed, and perhaps not even desirable for most Iranians, it remains a possibility that analysts, policymakers, and citizens alike would be wise to understand. Let us know in the comments. Do you think Iran could fragment in the future? And if so, how many new countries would form? Thank you for joining us. Please share your opinions in the comments section.